Easily one of the most successful new broadcast shows of the season. Tracker just wrapped up its first season. You can stream all the episodes now on Paramount Plus. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my TV review for the CBS series Tracker. This just wrapped up its 13-episode first season and was definitely renewed for next year. It will be back, one of the most popular shows of the year, and certainly it doesn't hurt that the premiere episode was the Super Bowl lead-out show, so a lot of people ended up watching that premiere, and sometimes that can certainly work in a show's favor. I know they did it a few years ago with The Equalizer, the Queen Latifah show, but in any event, before we launch into the specifics of this show, let me welcome you into Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding this video. We do movie and TV reviews here on the channel, and just about every day something new goes up. There's always a lot to check out, whether it be movie or TV related. So please consider subscribing, hit that like button, comment below, share it on your socials. All that stuff, of course, helps the channel out. So this stars Justin Hartley, who was a fixture on This Is Us, which wrapped a few years ago, and I had never really heard of him before This Is Us. Looking back at his filmography, I had seen him, in a couple of smaller roles, but This Is Us certainly, catapulted him into stardom as Kevin. And so he uses his sort of, good looks, swagger, and all of that to sort of inform his role here as Coulter, the tracker. And basically, first of all, I hate his name, Coulter Shaw. Horrible name. It's like a soap opera name. They could have named him something a little more basic, but whatever. So he is a survivalist with a background that we sort of learn about as the show goes on, about growing up in a pretty, off the grid environment, and how he learned to be such a great, survivalist and tracker. And basically he fancies himself a rewardist, looking for lost people or what have you, who, is paid by just regular people, private citizens, and, finding their loved ones and what have you. And they establish this very, very well in the first scene of the first episode. This gal was, hiking, and she ended up being lost, and so he finds her, and we learn right away what his deal is, kind of who he is, that he needs the money for this, and then it sort of goes from there. We see his team pretty immediately. I thought this was a really, really good way to introduce the characters. Now, I will say, I think they're showing their hand a little too quickly with his background. So I watched the first 3 episodes of this, so I could give it a fair shake on the review. And it seemed to me that they were maybe tipping their hand a little too quickly on some of his background stuff. Now, this is certainly a departure from, I think, a lot of the CBS procedural shows, because this is, for all intents and purposes, a procedural. Every single episode, he is, basically tracking somebody different. The only through line really is him, his team, his mother, and sort of his background. But you think about some of the most successful CBS shows from the last 20 years, kind of going off that Law and Order model on NBC. You have things like CSI and NCIS and all the initial shows. But even more current stuff like Blue Bloods. Obviously family's important there, but for the most part, it's always, okay, here's the setup, here's the quest of the week, the mystery of the week in this case, and he goes to town, looking for them. I think if this is to be a successful long-term show, it might have been nice to just sort of, give us those in drips and drabs, whereas like the second episode, there's a lot of, background stuff on his upbringing and all of that. It didn't detract from my good time watching the show. I just worry that maybe if they play all of those hands too early, there might not be anywhere to go. Like I think about Lost. Now, of course, Lost, there was so many different characters to explore, but, each episode we learned a little bit more about one person's background. Here he is the one person. That's not true, because you have his mother as well. But in any event, that's really my major complaint. But otherwise, I think this show is riveting. I mean, Justin Hartley is great in the lead role, even though I do hate his name. But I think he is really bringing all of that, sort of heat, both physically and otherwise, to this role that Kevin kind of had as the actor on This Is Us. He played on This Is Us as an actor, with where his good looks really helped him in the roles and all of this. I think he's kind of using all of that stuff that Kevin utilized in This Is Us, and really bringing it as himself to the table in this. I think he is excellent in this series. I think it was a great choice for his first big post This Is Us show, or movie for that matter. I don't think I've seen him in any movies lately, but in any event, I thought he was perfect casting. Some of the other people in the cast I was surprised to see as well. Abby McEnany, I only know from this Showtime series that she did a few years ago, and I think that she is fantastic. So it was interesting, and that was like a comedy. So it's interesting to see her in a more heavy hitting role. But you also have Robin Weigert, who I was kind of unfamiliar with, but she was in Sons of Anarchy. So you may know her, and Deadwood as well. A couple of really popular shows I didn't watch, but she's really good here. So his whole team I liked, and I like the aspect that they're going for. He's sort of not shortchanging the law, but he's sort of going around the law in many instances. And I'm currently watching an old '70s show called The Rockford Files, in where they did kind of the same thing a lot. Jim Rockford, James Garner, would kind of just be hired by random people, and he would sort of go around the law or tweak the law a little bit. And we're seeing a lot of that here in this show. And I think it's put to good use. And unlike some of the other CBS shows I've mentioned here on this video, I don't think that the soundtrack is particularly overwhelming. I think the producers are like allowing some of the scenes to kind of breathe, which we don't often get on some of these CBS shows. There's a little bit of humor here, like you'll get with shows like this, but for the most part, it's all about let's find these people, and yes, let's explore Coulter's background, a bit as we go, and try to find out what makes why he is the way he is and what makes him tick, kind of thing. But for me, this is probably the best new network show since Will Trent on ABC about a year and a half ago. So yeah, I'm excited that this is as successful as it's been. We're gonna have season 2 probably in the fall, I would assume. I'm gonna leave Tracker with a B+, and like I said, you could catch all of the episodes now for season 1 streaming on Paramount+. Thank you so much for watching Dan Reviews It. We'll see you next time. Bye.